The Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at...
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi with the February 6th NBA trade deadline approaching. The Heat has stepped up its efforts to trade the disgruntled Jimmy Butler, has come down to what it's looking for in a Butler trade, likely leading to more teams inquiring about him. There's one team Butler should reconsider, one where he'd have an immediate impact. ESPN NBA analyst Danny Green.
Memphis Grizzlies. They're a top-seeded team in the West. They've been very good. They're young. They need some edgy, some toughness defensively. They need that another wing. If he goes to Memphis, I think he automatically, I wouldn't say automatically, but he puts them in contention and a group that can be, a winning team for some years to come. And they probably have the money to give him that extension he's looking for as well.
Miami suspended Butler for a third time yesterday when he walked out of practice after learning he wouldn't start last night. NFL Browns GM Andrew Berry told reporters today he will not trade star defensive end Myles Garrett this offseason. WNBA, ESPN's reporting Phoenix finalizing a trade to acquire one of the top players in the world, forward Alyssa Thomas from Connecticut. She is regarded as one of the best defenders as well as facilitators in the WNBA.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Cannon, coming up Wednesday. Russell Wilson or Justin Fields? I'll tell you which QB the Steelers should re-sign if they want to start winning in the playoffs. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Talk some recruiting. Jerit Roser, pinch hitting here in about 15 minutes from right now. Former Tiger great Jared Mitchell, now the SEC Network, will be here next hour. A lot to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, shortly after the Philadelphia Eagles punched their ticket to Super Bowl 59, reports started that the Saints plan to interview Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore up in Philadelphia. Obviously, he's got a lot of matters to attend to, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. The Saints hopped on a plane. Saints brass hopped on a plane. They went up to Philadelphia, and Monday night interviewed Kellen Moore. As a matter of fact, our Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net filed his report at 12:25 a.m. So that interview was Monday night and into Tuesday morning with Kellen Moore, but the Saints have since completed that interview in person. So now we know Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, the Giants offensive coordinator, and Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator, are the three candidates that have completed in-person interviews, in addition to Darren Rizzi, the Saints interim head coach. So that's the four. The expectation is that former coach, Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy, will have his in-person interview with the New Orleans Saints later this week. However, there was a report on Monday evening that the Saints were, quote, not enamored with McCarthy in the early conversations that they've had. So we'll see what may manifest there. You know, I find it interesting with Kellen Moore because he is now the odds-on favorite to become the Saints' next head coach. And Kellen Moore does check the boxes that I had kind of imposed early in this process, where I said I wanted a young, offensive-minded coach with no ties to the Saints organization, and preferably from the Shanahan-McVay tree. So you don't get that component of it directly, but you do get all the other check marks there. Kellen Moore is a young offensive-minded coach who's never been a head coach before. And He has obviously been the play caller in Dallas and now is the play caller in Philadelphia. I don't know that necessarily anything that went wrong or maybe didn't go right, perhaps the way to say it, in Dallas was his fault necessarily, but he was ousted after 2022, spent one season with the Chargers in 2023. Of course, Brandon Staley was not retained, so he was looking for a job, and now in Philadelphia for this season. It certainly helps in Philadelphia when you're calling plays and you can turn around and hand the ball to Saquon Barkley, as Paul told us yesterday. Good running back. Gets a lot of yards. You can hand the ball to Saquon Barkley. You can throw it to Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. It's a good offense. I don't suspect that it's too hard to call plays with all that talent. It would be a decidedly different experience calling plays in New Orleans with this hodgepodge of average to bad for the New Orleans Saints. But again, Kellen Moore looks like he is now the front runner to get that job. One thing Ross Jackson mentioned here on Monday that was interesting is the longer this goes, the more likely it is that they hire someone else. Because the truth is, if they wanted to hire Kellen Moore, like if they were blown away with that interview, hire him. Now, you couldn't formally announce it until after the Super Bowl, but you could have Saints likely to hire Kellen Moore, and that would be the deal. But the longer this goes on, it tells you they want to talk in person with Mike McCarthy. Maybe it is Cliff Kingsbury that they want to have a conversation with as well, that his season's over in Washington. I guess when I look at Kellen Moore, he does, as I said, check a lot of those boxes, but I don't know if that's the necessary wow factor that you might have gotten with some other coaches or candidates. I went back and checked. So there were some early odds for who would be the next Saints head coach. And I went back and looked on December the 19th. So this is a little more than a month ago. On December the 19th, there were 16 names that had odds to be the Saints head coach. Kellen Moore was not one of the 16. A little more than a month ago, he wasn't even on the list. 5 days ago, there were 7 names on that list. Now, Joe Brady was at the top of the list. And, of course, then on Saturday night, Joe Brady withdrew from consideration. Of the 7 names, Kellen Moore was 6th of the 7 when it came to odds. So, all that to say, at no point during this process until now has Kellen Moore been or perceived to have been the favorite to land this job. But as we know, you didn't land Aaron Glenn. Joe Brady pulled out of the process. So the guys who we all thought were at the top of your list aren't going to be there. So what do you do next? I mean, you got to hire someone. But I would also say, are you rushing with Kellen Moore? Like, did one game against the Washington Commanders all of a sudden dramatically elevate his star to where you go, yep, that's our guy? And I don't know that I could definitively say that. The longer this goes on, the thing that becomes more appealing to me is the thing that I've floated a few times that I don't think the Saints are actually going to consider, but I do think would be the best path forward here, which is to retain Darren Rizzi for 1 year. Now, you don't retain Darren Rizzi and tell him he's being hired for 1 year, and you don't go into it with that intention, because what if he has a great season? Awesome. Well, then he keeps the job. But when I look at the Saints, there's just so much that's very obviously going against New Orleans here. And a lot of it that could be rectified for 2026. You have no dead money on the books right now for 2026. You have about $60 million in cap space for 2026. Now, that's going to change because you're going to have to do some contract restructuring, and that number is going to come down. But you're going to be closer to even, or could potentially be closer to even for 2026 on the salary cap. I think you'll probably have a top 5 pick because you're going to be really bad in 2025. And so the same way that the Raiders hired Antonio Pierce and fired him after 1 season and got Pete Carroll, or New England hired Gerard Mayo internally, fired him after 1 season, landed on Mike Vrabel, Maybe the same thing Dallas is doing right now with Brian Schottenheimer. We'll see if maybe next year they're in the market again. I just think a year from now, the Saints' job is more attractive to a potential candidate. So why not have Darren Rizzi be, in essence, a lame duck coach, a sacrificial lamb to just steer the ship into this storm that's coming in 2025. And then when you find calmer seas in 2026, you go hire your speedboat captain, whoever's going to take you and take that thing you hope to the moon. I don't think that's what Mickey Loomis and the Saints brass are thinking right now, but that seems like a more plausible option. Playing a long-term game instead of thinking you're going to get this right for 2025, because I don't know that Kellen Moore is the guy the Saints. It feels like they'd be settling. You got to hire somebody, so Kellen Moore, okay. When 5 weeks ago he wasn't even on your list, and now he's the guy. Look, that can reveal itself through the process. So we'll see what ultimately they do. We'll see if Cliff Kingsbury agrees to an interview, if the Saints want to interview him, if they do, in fact, interview Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore just said no?
Kingsbury.
Oh, Kingsbury
looking
just
at the
said
report
no. Okay.
right now. Yeah,
okay, so Kingsbury. Okay, so Kingsbury is a no-go. So you're not going to go forward with Cliff Kingsbury. So that's another name off your list. I don't know how realistic that was to begin with, but now you'd in theory be down to those two, Moore, McCarthy, Rizzi, or Weaver Kafka, who have already interviewed. I mean, that's not exactly a list that instills a ton of confidence in what direction your organization might be heading. So if it is Kellen Moore, it's what it is. We'll talk about it when it happens, but if it happens. But I am leaning more and more toward the feeling of, hey, look, retain Rizzi, go into the tank for a year, just take your medicine, go through the storm, understand what it's going to be, and then next year you'll be in a healthier situation to find the right person long-term who could hopefully bring you back to being a competitor or in a contender, but it ain't right now. And I don't know that it's Kellen Moore. All right, it's after further review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, official beer partner of Super Bowl 59. Hey, we've been telling you all these past couple of weeks. There it is right there on the screen, the QR code. Go ahead and scan it. You want your opportunity to win tickets to Super Bowl 59 in the Dome. It's that simple. Scan that QR code on the screen to enter. If you're listening, not watching, no sweat. Just find the Mockler Beverage social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Find Mockler Beverage, and you'll see the Bud Light can Super Bowl 59 post there with the graphic and the QR code. Scan that QR code for your opportunity to win tickets to Super Bowl 59 a week from Sunday in the Dome. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. All right, it's after further review. A big weekend ahead for LSU recruiting. Jerit Roser, now of On 3, will join us next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Hormone replacement therapy, ED treatments. Gentlemen, if you feel like you're aging, or you just know you don't feel like you did when you were 20 or 30, and you want to regain that feeling, hormone replacement therapy could be the path. If you're struggling with ED, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has a variety of treatments that could help depending on the issues that you have. But it starts with that consultation. And maybe the most important thing, there are discrete treatments and discrete meetings available, consultations available, and when it comes to hormone replacement therapy, it's the lowest prices you'll find and never any contracts. Don't settle for mediocrity. Feel your best. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz vans.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Make sure you get by sunequip.com, sunequip.com. You want a Deere, Bunkie, and below, one place you're going, Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Jerit Mitchell, former Tiger great, 1 hour from right now, we'll talk some baseball. What a massive recruiting time. If you were paying attention to Twitter or X at all last week, especially if you follow Jared Roser, it felt like a steady stream of retweets of 2026 prospects getting offers from LSU. Massive junior day coming up for the Tigers. Quarterback news galore. Good time to bring Jerit on to pinch hit for Shea. Jerit with On 3. Jerit, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm good, Matt. Always a pleasure, so appreciate you guys having me. How are you?
I'm great, dude. Thank you so much for the time. Okay, so you're going like rapid fire with the thumb, retweeting all these dudes last week that are getting their offers. Which offers to you stand out maybe as the most significant?
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been 2 or 3 dozen probably just in the last week, out-of-state guys. The coaches are all over the place, all over the Southeast. Offers from Texas up to North Carolina and really everywhere in between. I had a chance to talk to Corey Wells last night, a defensive tackle from Petal, Mississippi, that Bo Davis just offered on Friday. And the Tigers seem like they're in a nice position starting out with his exploding recruitment right now with 7 offers in the past 10 days for him, 5 of them being SECs. Had a couple of IMG guys that were on campus this past weekend, and Brett Collier and Jay Cruel, 2026 guys from IMG on the defensive side of the ball. So those are guys to certainly know. Muscle Shoals, Alabama edge rusher Kamarion Johnson. And the list kind of keeps going on. Zion Robinson, a speedy Mansfield, Texas receiver. Myson Johnson Cook, a 5-star 2027 kid out of DeSoto, Texas, picked up one this morning. And so it's been all over the map. The Tigers coaches are kind of eating up the frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, Shay. Excuse me, Shay. We'll have Sire. Jerit, give me a sense of the process. So obviously you got to offer before you can take a commitment. So they're doing, as you mentioned, 2 to 3 dozen offers in the last week or so. Where does this mean LSU is in the process with these guys? Like what's the next step in all their recruitment?
Sure, and I think it's important for people to know that it kind of varies some between in-state guys and out-of-state guys as well, which is part of why you're seeing the active offers going out right now to all these out-of-state guys for the LSU coaches, while there are only, I think, 11 2026 Louisiana guys that currently hold LSU offers, and only 4 2027 guys in the state that hold those offers. Meanwhile, you're seeing some of the out-of-state programs light up my Twitter feed with offers for some of the Louisiana guys. And I think for out-of-state guys, the offers can kind of have varying significance. In some cases, it's really, hey, we're very interested in you at this point, but get to camp and show it in person in a couple months when things open up for that in June. In some cases, it maybe holds a little bit more stock, but part of the reason why you don't see as many in-state offers going out just yet is because a lot of times the programs try to be a little bit more patient and selective with those in-state offers because they know kind of the relationship dynamics that are there. And if you offer an in-state guy, they might be that much more likely to want to commit that much more quickly. And if you don't have that spot for the guy down the stretch, then it kind of burns some local bridges. And so there's a lot of dynamics going on with what any of these offers means going out to these guys.
Jerit, Junior Day is coming up for LSU, and there's supposed to be some big-time prospects on campus. Fill us in on what that weekend is like and who notably is supposed to be in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, most of those in-state offer guys sound like they're going to be in attendance. I know, for us over at On3, Steve Wolfong put together a list of some of the top names to know that we know currently are heading to Baton Rouge, and it's some familiar ones in Blaine Bradford from Catholic High, Jabari Mack from Destrehan, Dylan Berryman from Ouachita, Darius McKinley, Dominic's younger brother out of Acadiana, Lamar Brown from U-High, Ahmad Hudson from Ruston, Peyton Houston from Evangeline, and that list kind of goes on. And there will be certainly a good number of out-of-state guys coming in as well. But this is a huge event to kind of kickstart the new year as more of the attention starts to focus on this 26 cycle now, as well as some of the truly elite 27 guys. This is an opportunity outside of the game day festivities to get a huge number of top prospects together and kind of roll out the full red carpet to these guys, get them together, get them some one-on-one time in some cases with some of the coaches. And we've seen in the past some commitments certainly come out of Junior Day. It's kind of part of the expectation is maybe some of these relationships that have been longstanding, like those guys that I mentioned, this is the time where you kind of sew it up and they become a part of that class.
Jerit Roser is with us on 3 The Bengal Tiger. Get him on Twitter at Jerit Roser. You mentioned Peyton Houston, who's a quarterback out of Evangel. He's got the LSU offer, but so does Elijah Haven out of Dunham. So 2 really highly regarded prospects in state for 2027. So they're high school sophomores right now, for those that don't know. What can you tell us about Peyton Houston? That's a guy we haven't talked as much about, certainly with respect to Elijah Haven.
Yeah, these 2 guys are both phenomenal. I mean, as much as you could expect from a sophomore quarterback in high school, they're both showcasing it. And I've been watching videos of Pop since I think he was 6 or 7 years old, because I knew his dad, Sean, through Devin White's recruitment. They're close. I don't remember if they're family, just close family friends, but I'd kind of known about Pop growing up even when Devin White was coming through LSU. And every step of the way, he has checked every box, particularly as he got to the high school level and hit a growth spurt and started pushing up toward 6 foot or so. But just, I mean, a kid that has a really high football IQ and is really polished at this point in his development for a young passer. Watching him, whether it be at Evangel or as much as I've spent time with him on the 7-on-7 scene, the way he can kind of manipulate some things and look guys off at this point as a young guy is really impressive. And then obviously, a rocket arm and some athleticism to him to be able to make a lot of plays with his legs that at times this fall he really had to, because Evangel was kind of struggling up front at points. But folks remember, I imagine, seeing that 800-yard passing game against Captain Shreve during the season. And that was a point where a lot of guys that were transferring in to want to play with him were still kind of just getting eligible. And so the team and Pop, with those guys around him, gained some steam late in the season, won a playoff game, and all those things. But if you've been excited watching Elijah Haven at this point in his development for local folks in Baton Rouge, Pop is right there with him. And there's some good depth in the 27 class in state as well. We look at that 23 class with Arch and Eli Holstein and Ricky Collins and all those guys, and I think this 27 class is kind of in that sort of framework with some fantastic top-end guys as well as a lot of depth.
Who else, by the way? I mean, after Haven and I'm sorry, are you calling him Pop? Like P.O.P., is that his nickname?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Peyton Houston, I don't know. He's been Pop his whole life as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, good to know. I mean, look, we're high school sophomore, man. We're learning, right? We're going to learn these guys. We'll be talking about them a lot over the next couple of years. So after Haven and after Pop, who are the other quarterbacks to know in the state for 27?
I think certainly for LSU fans, the next guy to keep an eye on in-state has been Malachi Ziegler, another guy he's got stature, I think about 6'3", 200 right now, and a big arm and some athleticism to him. Was with a Benton program this fall that he had to run around a little bit more than at times than maybe they would have loved for him to do. But another kid that's picking up a lot of Power 4 offers and has been firmly on Joe Sloan and company's radar. It was when those first offers went out to the crew that included Pop and Elijah Haven and Colton Nussmeyer. Malachi, I think, was kind of right there on that cusp that if some things fall the right way for him, I won't be surprised if he ends up with an LSU offer at some point. I really like Carson Sellers, the sophomore quarterback at Alexandria, and some of the things I saw from him in his first year as starter. Kingston Johnson is another kid at Live Oak here locally that if folks are up there in Livingston Parish and want to go check out a talented young passer on a Friday night this fall, he's someone that I think has an opportunity to be a D1 guy, certainly. And more guys are kind of continuing to come into their own, maybe waiting behind a senior this year, but looking to step into a bigger role as juniors. But I think those 5 have been kind of the leaders early on.
And I just found out that Malachi Ziegler follows me on Twitter, so I just gave him a follow back. Here we go. I didn't even know he was. Now I do. Awesome. Benton class of 2027. Hey, before you go, Jerit, there was the news over the weekend about the NIL deal that Elijah Haven did with Matt Bowers, Auto Group down in New Orleans. If you have a reaction to that in particular, I'd love to hear it. But I'm more interested what you might be hearing ear to ground in recruiting circles about the change with NIL as it relates to revenue share coming into play and how that might be changing, if at all, any of these recruiting conversations.
Yeah, I think so much is just so chaotic and almost Wild West right now that, like we've seen with other instances with the NCAA in recent years, big changes happen before people have the details really figured out. And so there's a lot of suddenly, okay, this Pandora's box or that Pandora's box is open, and now let's figure out what the kind of adjustment or guardrails are to that. And so that's kind of where a lot seems to be with NIL and a look to the rev sharing era seemingly ahead that it will kind of bring some form of clarity, a step in the right direction in that regard to what has been so tough to kind of keep a handle on thus far. I think for Elijah's new deal with Matt Bowers Auto Group, my biggest reaction is just awesome for Elijah, a good kid who looks like he's got a nice opportunity that's going to involve some money coming to the family for his fantastic talent and personality and character and all those things. But I'm not blinking a whole lot of an eye at some of these beyond that. Just, good opportunities for the kids. I know each one, there's kind of a thought for some fans of, okay, what program might be more tied to this organization. Like I saw reports of Matt Bowers being an Ole Miss alum,
right,
and what that could mean. Is this going to be a Bryce Underwood concern? And, you're going to have to battle the finances of another program. And realistically, regardless of who the company is or what the program is for a top quarterback in college recruiting right now, you're going to have to play that game to a notable degree. So that's going to be part of the norm right now, even if it kind of shapes a little bit differently moving forward as things continue to develop.
He's Jerit Roser on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him on Twitter at Jerit Roser. Busy recruiting week ahead for and in the review for the LSU Tigers. Jerit, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Yep, sounds good anytime, Matt. Thank you.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. It's After Further Review, brought to you by our friends over at Evamore. Drink Evamore, EVAMOR. It's a healthier alternative. If you drink bottled water, I would always encourage you to do this challenge. Take this test. Buy whatever bottled water that you normally buy and buy a bottle of Evamore and drink them side by side. And tell me if you don't taste and notice a difference. Evamore is natural artesian water. It is straight out of a natural artesian well on the North Shore of Lang Pontchartrain in Covington. They pipe it right into the bottling plant, into the bottle, and then boom, it doesn't touch air until you uncap it and take that first delicious sip. Elite athletes, you want better hydration, you want something healthier for your children, for your family, you want Evamore. EVAMOR, evamore.com, evamore.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks to Jerit for pinch hitting. Shay is up in Nashville at an On3 summit, an event up there. So appreciate Jerit for jumping aboard, pinch hitting. Busy time for recruiting, so we'll continue to follow that. We're not going to break. Go around the SEC when we come back. Also, Jared Mitchell, former Tiger great, now at the SEC Network, and incidentally, who we just hired at Guarantee is going to be working for us out of the Houston area. So we'll have plenty of opportunities to talk to Jared throughout this baseball season. So really looking forward to that. So Jared Mitchell here in about 45 minutes from right now. And we'll get you an update from the Senior Bowl. Mason Taylor apparently had a pretty big day. Former Tiger had himself a nice day. I know Ross Jackson will have an update, empty the notebook from day one of practice there at the Senior Bowl. That'll be coming up at LouisianaSports.net. Of course, always everything free over at LouisianaSports.net. All right, stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by our friends over at the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Had a great conversation with my guy Nathaniel Tannehill over at the Renaissance Hotel earlier today. They always have great stuff going on over there. Listen, if you want to go knocking off of work, you want to go have cocktails, glass of wine, or you want to go have dinner, you can do it at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. Maybe you have an event coming up in 2025. The Renaissance Hotel absolutely can host, from a boardroom for a dozen people to their grand ballroom that can host as many as 500 people. They've got 13,000 square feet of meeting space to accommodate your event, and they're right there on Bluebonnet at the Renaissance Hotel. And don't forget, downtown, about the Watermark. The Watermark is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. The original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building. They've maintained so much of the history and architectural integrity of that building, the marble staircases, the artwork. It's gorgeous. They've converted the bank vaults into meeting rooms. You got to check it out. It's the Watermark Hotel.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun, over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea.
I can hardly believe this is reality. We need to call Sharif. Call Sharif, please. Get him on the phone. We need a ruling. Sharif, of course, is our frat-tastic name expert. That would be Sharif Ishak. Former classmate of mine at LSU, who is a total no talent. Somehow, he keeps getting jobs in television. He was at WA. I believe he might have been at BRZ and WAFB in Baton. I know he's at WAFB, but some time ago, Sharif moved back down to New Orleans from whence he came. Now works for WDSU, has for a good while. They hire him as a sports anchor, and I don't know why, because he's not very good at what he does. But there's one thing that Sharif Ishak does well, and he is the gatekeeper when it comes to frat-tastic names. And we may, breaking news, it's loud. We may have a winner. We have Sharif. Okay, great. Sharif, no thank you for the time.
Stop wasting my time. What do you want?
Well, I would like to move on as quickly as possible to get you off of my show, but the only reason that I ever call you is, why else would I be calling you, right?
To help your ratings, that they're flunking?
No, actually, I'm trying to get you off the air as quickly as possible so the massive audience that is just escaping promptly would stop. I could cease, but this is my own great interest, is when I come across a name like this, I need to know a star rating, a frat-tastic star rating. So, man, this one might be, Sharif, I think this is, what do they call it? 5-star plus? Isn't that the new rating that they have in recruiting? I think this is 5-star plus.
All right.
Ole Miss has extended a scholarship offer to Jackson Dart's brother. By the way, Jackson with an XS. What's our rating on Jackson? Jaxson, Jackson Dart. What's our rating there?
Probably it's such a common name now. I've seen it a few times the way that's spelled. Probably a high 3.
Oh, see, a 3 for Jackson? Like, not like Jackson, okay, but Jaxson, Jackson?
Like Jackson Hayes.
But is he just Jax or is he Jaxs?
I think he's Jaxson. Doesn't matter. He's no longer with us. Not like that, but
yeah, he's not dead. Okay. All right. But that's why we call you, right? The only thing that you actually know. All right. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have you seen this story yet, by the way?
I have not. So
okay. Not surprising because you don't know anything about sports. So anyway, Jackson Dart's brother, Diesel Dart.
Ooh.
Diesel Dart has been offered by the Ole Miss Rebels. Diesel, Diesel Dart. Alliteration, Diesel, not a nickname. Diesel Dart. Where does he fall?
That's getting me a 5-star because of...
We got one! Yeah!
Diesel's a good name. And like you said, the alliteration, Diesel Dart, it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Diesel Dart. Diesel Dart is a 5-star.
Diesel Dart.
3 5-sack all team.
5-star plus or just a 5-star? Have we implemented the plus rating in the 5-star system?
We're going to go with the 5-star
okay.
for now. 5 stars are hard to get. 5-star plus, it's like elite, like first ballot Hall of Fame. So.
I mean, Diesel Dart? I mean, you tell me what name you've ever come across that's a 5-star plus that's better than Diesel Dart.
Go look up the lacrosse names, all lacrosse teams. You'll see some names that you have never seen before.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Now get off my show before you ruin the ratings.
Okay. You're beautiful, by the way.
All right. Thank you, Sharif. I appreciate it. Not really, though. That is Sharif Ishak from WDSU. You can follow him on Twitter I think he's at Sharif Ishak WDSU or at Sharif WDSU. Hang on. At Sharif WDSU, SHARIEF. I should ask him what kind of rating Sharif would get. SHARIEF, not Sharif, or EEF, which I think that was like, remember Sharif Abdur Rahim? I think he was EEF. All right, it's after further review. No thanks to Sharif. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. All the great German engineering without the cost and manufactured right here in the good old US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you get the benefit of the top IIHS top safety picks. You get the benefit of the great German engineering, the great gas mileage, the performance, style, feel of luxury without the cost. Right now, the New Year sales event is going on as well and manufactured right here in the US of A at the Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you're supporting American jobs. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
5-star wide receiver Dallas Wilson will be able to report for the spring semester at Florida. He's been finishing up some classwork to finish high school. That was expected to take a few weeks at the start of the semester. He apparently has done it, completed his final test, and so now he will, in fact, enroll at Florida for the spring semester. He's the nation's number 26 overall prospect, the 4th best receiver in the country, now officially a Gator.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
4-star wide receiver Daniel Odom has committed to Oklahoma. He's at a St. John Bosco out in California. Committed to Oklahoma. Hayes Fawcett with the news. Picked the Sooners over Texas and Oregon. 6'2", 175-pounder. The number 221 overall prospect for 2026. The number 36 wide receiver.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky guard Lamont Butler has been ruled out for the Tennessee game. Injury not officially known, but Butler apparently been dealing with this for a couple of games now. He's the second leading scorer for the Wildcats at 13 points per game. Meanwhile, Andrew Carr for Kentucky is listed as questionable after missing the Vanderbilt game.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Nate Oates provided an update on Darion Reed before the Mississippi State game. Oates met with reporters on Tuesday. It said, Reed's been doing more and more. Questionable up until game day, but has done more in practice than he had done up until this point. Reed's missed the last 4 games with what's been termed a lower body injury. did not play, obviously, against LSU this past weekend. He's missed a total of 5 games since December. Been a major contributor, former McDonald's All-American, averaging 8 and 3 for Alabama. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC Tuesday shows, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Great opportunity right now to get any work done on that farm equipment, on those Deers. If you need to, before we get back into season, bring it on in to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, well, now I got to break, y'all. Jared Mitchell in 30 minutes from right now. We'll talk a little LSU baseball. Michael Cauble is at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. We'll talk to Cobbs here at the top of hour number 3. Get a little look-see at how the LSU players did day one on the practice field in Mobile. We'll get to that with Cobbs a little more than an hour from right now. Well, now I got a quick break, wrap up hour number 1. It's AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, the Arctic blast is gone. It is time to just plant something. So 2 things to let you know about. Number 1, of course, if as a result of all that weather last week, you have some plants or flowers or trees that are kind of brown as a result of all that weather, maybe don't start pruning just yet. Depending on what plant it is, the best thing you could do is ask our friends over at Clegg's Nursery. If you're not sure, take a picture, bring it in, call up there. They'll let you know exactly what to do. But it's a great time right now to just plant something. The perfect time to plant trees and shrubs and fruit trees. So if you're thinking of planting a tree, you need to do it now. You've got to get it in the ground. They got a great selection of colorful bedding plants that love this cool weather, with new shipments of flowers arriving almost every day. The selection's awesome at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations, so check them out on their Facebook page or go see them any of the 4 locations of Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Just look at her face. She ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
OTB, AFR, and the Hunt Palmer Show are hitting the road to spend the week on Radio Row, walking you up to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Our coverage is presented locally by L'Auberge Casino Baton Rouge. Listen at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and watch on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
Chiefs fatigue is a pretty familiar refrain. A lot of people saying that the Chiefs ruined Super Bowl week. They hate the NFL. They hate football. Nobody wants to see the Chiefs. That's fine if you feel that way. But you know the old saying, numbers don't lie? The Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game generated an average audience of 57.4 million viewers. That is a record for the AFC Championship game. The most people ever to watch the AFC Championship game was the Bills and the Chiefs at 57.4 million average audience, and the most for any conference championship game since the Giants-Niners back in 2012, which generated 57.6 million. So you can say all you want about how much you hate the Chiefs, and that may be true, but your hatred for the Chiefs, or people like my wife, who's a gigantic Swiftie who watched just to see if she could get a glimpse of Taylor Swift in the suite, or Travis Kelce catching a ball, that's just what she's watching, no matter. Chiefs, people watch. On the flip side of it, Commanders-Eagles was a blowout. 44.2 million people watched it. That's a drop of 13.2 million from a year ago with in that slot, which was the AFC game, which was the Chiefs-Ravens. But a gigantic dip in the audience for the NFC Championship game. But I'm going to continue to say this. I don't really listen, I'm no Chiefs fan. I don't hate the Chiefs because they win. I don't hate the fact that they show Taylor Swift on TV. God bless. I mean, she's going to watch her significant other play just like any other celebrity would be. I mean, how many times do we watch Patriots games and there's Gisele Bundchen up in the suite that they're showing? Nobody cared then. I mean, I don't know why people care so much about them showing Taylor Swift, but she's just going, I mean, she's not doing anything to draw attention to herself. She's just at a game. God bless her. Go watch the game. I don't have any problem with that. But for whatever reason, people are watching. And I'll say this. My interest in the Super Bowl, there's a few. Number one, it's football, and so, of course, it's a Super Bowl, and I'm going to watch. That's number one. But I also hate the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, I do have animus toward Philadelphia because of 1992. Randall Cunningham and the Eagles had a 26-point fourth quarter. They came back and upset the Saints at a point when the Saints had never won a playoff game. Forevermore, I've hated the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate the Eagles. I will never cheer for Philadelphia in anything unless if it directly benefits the Saints. So I ain't cheering for the Eagles. But I'll watch the game with interest because it's the Super Bowl. But mostly I'm interested in what is going to benefit New Orleans and the state of Louisiana. I want the best game possible that's going to get the biggest audience and the most eyeballs on the city and the most attention on New Orleans and the most tourists that are going to come down to go to the game or whatever the case may be. And that's happening. I don't know if you noticed, but tickets on the secondary market right now are tracking to be the highest sold ever on StubHub of the Mahomes era Super Bowl. So this is the fifth time the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl. This one is tracking to be the most attended, more than double actually the number than when the Chiefs and the Eagles played 2 years ago. I think a giant part of that is New Orleans. The weather's going to be great. I mean, it's South Louisiana in January. I know it snowed here last week, but the weather's going to be nice for the northern city teams that are trying to get away. New Orleans is a destination town. It is the best place to host the Super Bowl. It has surpassed Miami because the stadium for Miami is nowhere near anything. I mean, New Orleans is the best place to have the Super Bowl because everything is walkable. You could stay in the CBD, you could stay in the quarter, and every stadium, bar, everything is walkable. which is just not the case anywhere else. So New Orleans continues to be the best place to host the Super Bowl, and you've got the best possible matchup as far as numbers, eyeballs, appeal, everything like that, and it's showing. It's showing in interest. It's showing in ticket sales. It's showing in everything, and that's going to be a benefit for the city and for the state of Louisiana. So this is a giant win. It's a gigantic win. By the way, the average price, $8,076. Not the get-in price. You can get in cheaper, but the average price, $8,076 per seat on StubHub right now for Super Bowl 59. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're going to knock out a break, come back, kick off hour number 2 after we get you caught up on national headlines from SportsCenter. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Remember, of course, all this week, Hester and T-Bob, at least through Thursday, they're live at Senior Bowl on Radio Row. And next week, OTB, Hunt Palmer, AFR, all live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 59, courtesy of our friends at L'Auberge Hotel Casino in Baton Rouge. We appreciate our friends at L'Auberge for making all of our coverage happen. We'll be in NOLA all next week. All right, SportsCenter, then we're kicking off hour 2 next.
AFR.
Supper Club's back open, y'all. Closed Sunday, Monday, open Tuesday through Saturday, and we're counting down to Valentine's Day. Now, look, Supper Club is booked solid for Valentine's Day. It's a week from Friday, or 2 weeks from Friday, 2 weeks from Friday, February the 14th. So you can't get in on Valentine's, but Thursday, Saturday, they do have limited seating still available for Thursday, Saturday. If you want to go out for Valentine's Day, you could experience Supper Club. So many great ways to experience it. One of the things that Supper Club does so exceptionally well is the extras and the add-ons. I mean, the menu, I've described it to you so many times. Of course, all the different great cocktails and wine choices that you have. I mean, it's such an Instagrammable place just to begin with because of all of the decor and the presentation of everything. But things like, you want flowers at the table, they can arrange that. You want custom drink toppers, they can do that for you as well. It's those little extras that make it exceptional. It's Supper Club.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
and looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Heat's asking price of any team in a Jimmy Butler trade has lowered over the past few weeks, reports ESPN's Brian Windhorst. Miami is looking to trade him before next week's deadline, something he has demanded. The expectation now that more teams will be inquiring about Butler. His Miami tenure, which has included 2 trips to the NBA Finals, about to come to a bitter end, predicts ESPN NBA analyst Richard Jefferson.
He wants out. They want to try and incorporate him and allow him to be a good citizen while he's there. That's not what he wants. This is a place where his jersey should be in the rafters. So this is about money. He wants out so bad he will burn a bridge of the best 5 seasons of his career.
From ESPN's Shams Charania, the Kings are expected to open up talks to potentially deal All-Star De'Aaron Fox ahead of the deadline. There will be plenty of suitors, but it is believed that Fox has a target destination in mind ahead of 2026 free agency. NFL Browns GM Andrew Berry telling reporters at the Senior Bowl today he will not trade star defensive end Myles Garrett this offseason. Back in late December, Garrett said he did not want to go through another rebuild in Cleveland.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Cannon, coming up Wednesday. Russell Wilson or Justin Fields? I'll tell you which QB the Steelers should re-sign if they want to start winning in the playoffs. It's unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Talk a little LSU baseball with former Tiger great Jerit Mitchell, national champ. That's coming up in 15 minutes from right now, of course, now with the SEC Network and working with us at Guarantee Media in Houston on our digital media side. So we've got a huge audience in the state of Texas. I see all of our digital numbers. Houston and Dallas are actually our 2 biggest markets outside of the state of Louisiana. That shouldn't surprise anybody. But if you're a business owner, you do any digital media advertising, work with Jerit Mitchell and Guarantee Digital Media based out of Houston. Senior Bowl is going on in Mobile. Hester and T-Bob are over there. You know that. Ross Jackson is there as well, covering the Saints for LouisianaSports.net. Apparently, breaking news from the Senior Bowl. Got breaking news. I don't know if you heard this. Breaking news from the Senior Bowl. Jalen Milroe stinks. Not just talking about his tiny hands. We talked about that yesterday. He's got like 8-inch hands. Remember when they were talking about Joe Burrow having small hands? He had 9-inch hands. Jalen Milroe's got 8-inch hands. It's very clear. I'm starting to believe the hand size thing. If you're sub-9, then you can't play quarterback because Jalen Milroe stinks. This is from NFL Rookie Watch on Twitter. Jalen Milroe was reportedly having an extremely hard time standing out at Senior Bowl practice today. Milroe reportedly struggled much of the practice, throwing INTs, skipping balls, and having issue with accuracy all day long. At one point, Milroe missed 8 throws in a row during one-on-one drills. Milroe's performance was reportedly subpar to that of Jackson Dart and Riley Leonard, who he competed with today. Well, I tell you what. Color me stunned that Jalen Milroe went to the Senior Bowl and struggled with accuracy and skipping balls and throwing picks. Oh, you mean the guy that throws the ball into the third row on an out route because he has no touch or feel? You mean the guy that gets bailed out by a freak show freshman wide receiver on a dramatically underthrown ball, but the kid makes a pirouette spectacular catch and on the stat sheet goes down as a 75-yard touchdown, and you go, Jalen Milroe is intentionally under... No. Jalen Milroe stinks. I've told... While before last season, you had some people pumping Milroe as a Heisman candidate, first-round pick, your boy has kept it real with you. Jalen Milroe stinks. Great athlete. He can throw it a mile. He stinks. He's an inaccurate passer. You cannot play quarterback in the NFL if you are not accurate. He stinks. Jalen Milroe stinks. Clip it. Put it everywhere. In 5 years, if Jalen Milroe's an all-pro, you can all come back and laugh at me. I'm going to bet on Jalen Milroe not being an all-pro. I'm going to bet on Jalen Milroe getting way overdrafted, continuing to stink because he's inaccurate, and then ending up playing in the XFL or Canada or China. Aren't they trying to do a Chinese football league? I heard that somewhere.
I have not heard that, actually. Okay. That's interesting. I didn't even know they played football over in China.
Oh, remember China beat Team USA in something in football.
That's not real.
Google it.
That doesn't count. I remember now, but that doesn't count.
Google it.
Look at this. Yeah, Chinese Football League. The Chinese Football Association Super League. That's a thing. And has been. It was founded in 2004. Wait, that's soccer. Oh, see? Gosh. That's why you need to just call it soccer, because that's what it's called. Add American football in there.
Got it.
See if that
We're just
changes
going to wait.
it.
We're just going to wait. See how long it takes him to do his job. What you got?
Chinese National Football League.
There we go.
Founded in 2013. So this has been a thing for a while. Okay. Not as long as the soccer one, but...
No kidding.
The Shanghai Wolves, Matt, defending champs.
And what was the team that beat USA?
I think it was just like the Chinese national team.
Look it up. We're not going to guess. We're going to tell our audience the facts. So there's a Chinese team that beat Team USA in American football. This happened recently, within the last year. I want to say maybe this was over the summer.
Yeah, it was China. It was the national team, China. USA versus China.
China. What was the date on it?
It does look like it was in the summer. Hold on. Well, they gave me a bunch of them. There we go, 2023. It was December. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Okay. And it was a Chinese team that beat an American team in football.
In football.
Yeah. Got it. So, again, I was right. And you were wrong.
Oh, about... Yeah. I mean, but there's a Chinese National Football League.
So, again, I was right, and you were wrong.
I guess. Hey, look, there's also a Chinese Arena Football League.
Hey, Paulie. Since he has such a hard time saying it because he's so contentious all the time, why don't you go and say it for him?
You're right.
And?
He was wrong.
I don't think I ever said there wasn't. I said I didn't know about
God
that.
in heaven, here he goes.
Well, how is that being wrong if I said I didn't know about it?
Go back into Sterlitz when you said, they don't play football in China, and we play that later. Go back into Sterlitz and find it. We'll play your words back to you.
Okay.
We'll come back and then you could say, Scone, I was wrong and you were right. You could say those words. It's not going to hurt you, Muse. You can say those words. They're okay to say. They're okay to say.
I say them plenty. I have no problem admitting when I was wrong.
I'd like to hear that then.
Well, I'm going to go back at Sterlitz and make sure before I do this because
You interrupted the show.
I did not interrupt the show. You asked me a question.
And then you just interrupted me just now. And you're being contentious again when I was right and you were not, which led us down this whole path. You deviated. I was yelling about, I was having a good time, Muse. Muse, I was having a good time yelling about Jalen.
I know you were.
Being bad at football.
So
I was having a good time, Muse.
When I saw
you
earlier.
completely distracted me from talking about Jalen Milroe playing in China. I want a China drop. Get a Trump China drop of him going, China. Because it's way better than me doing it. And then every time we talk about Jalen Milroe from now on being bad at football, so you know where Jalen Milroe is going to end up playing football.
China.
That would be really good. All right, let's make that happen. That would be fun. After you go get you being wrong
I'm gonna look
about China and Jalen Milroe and all the football in China and whatnot.
Milroe? What?
Well, that was the path we were taking there. Milroe and China. All right, it's after further review. Since Muse just yard sailed this segment by being so combative, interrupting me and just not admitting fault and causing this 5-minute derail of the topic where we were going to talk about Mason Taylor, who was on OTB today.
Mason Taylor!
Now you'll have to go get that entire interview on demand or on the 104.5 ESPN social medias. I think the whole interview's up. You can go check it out. A good chat with Hester T-Bob and Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor!
And Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
It's close. I don't know. We get a judge's ruling? Paulie, you're the judge on that.
I was about to say Paul has to do it.
What do you got?
I got it.
Judge's ruling?
There was a slight delay, but it was close enough.
Delay. Okay. So let's say like he just got a piece of it. Fouled it off.
Yeah,
I mean, he was fooled badly, but he stayed alive.
There you go.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
That's what matters, though, man.
Yes, we were maybe our baseball vernacular is coming back around. Great transition to talk to Jerit Mitchell next on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions. Check out our friends at Glow Resources, Jareth Nakan, my buddy. Man, what an awesome business that he's built. And he's such a humble guy, and he'll tell you he didn't do anything. It's just a great team, but he does have a great team and staff around him as well at Glow Resources. You know, they conduct, on average, about 50 interviews a day. So think about this. If you're in a business owner or you're an HR director, hiring manager, ops manager, think about how many interviews. Like, do you conduct 50 interviews in a year? They do 50 a day. That's more than 15,000 over the course of the year. You want to know why they're great at finding the people, the right person for your job? It's because they go through that process dozens of times a day to know the right questions to ask to identify the right people for your job. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online, GLO, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Man, we are counting down first pitch out at the box, just a couple of Fridays away. I know Jared Mitchell will be tuned in, former Tiger great, national champion, first-round draft pick, now with the SEC Network, and now with Guarantee Media as well, based out of Houston. Jared, great to chat, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. How y'all doing? Hey, wait, time out, too. Don't be so sure. I might be able to slide in there on that opener. We'll see.
Come on, man. You gonna be in town? How often you get
Well, I don't know.
coming back here?
We'll see. I mean, it's not that far away. Pretty close still. Nice little quick drive. Pop in anytime I kind of need to. So we'll see. We'll see.
Do you see any correlations with this LSU team, at least at the start of practice, with any of the 3 you played on in Baton Rouge?
I mean, yeah, man, they got a whole bunch of talent, right? They got a really deep outfield. My last 2 years there, we had a really deep outfield. They got some arms on the mound. I think they got more arms now than probably they ever had. And as a staff, especially where they are health-wise right now, it's hard to really pinpoint anybody else or any other team that's come through LSU that's had more talent than what they're going to have on the staff. So I'm excited because I do think that obviously the look of the complex of how these things are going to come together this year is going to be a little different for them. But I do think this team's got a real chance, man. And I say that and I mean that. It's got the feel of one of those teams where you just feel like, okay, if these guys kind of come together, they put together some spots right here, and some guys play to what you expect them to play like. Yeah, I think this could be a special squad they got this year.
Jared, I'm glad you mentioned the depth of the staff. Someone, a listener on social media, asked me earlier today if this is the deepest staff LSU's had, and I kind of paused. I'm not big into hyperbole, first of all, but second, there's so much arm talent. That's undeniable. But the big question is, okay, like, how does Anthony Ianson transition from UC San Diego to the SEC? How does Zach Cohen transition from Wofford to the SEC? You understand. So, like, how do you answer that, Jared? Like, what's a good indicator of whether or not we should believe these guys are going to have that amount of success going up a level in competition?
I think so. You sit here and you talk about talent, and talent is talent, and that's great, but if you're not going to have production, it doesn't really matter. And so what I mean by production for me is when I sit there and watch these guys, I think an early indicator, right? Because we sit here and we see a lot of these guys are going to be lighting up the radar gun. That's just going to be a thing. Are they throwing strikes? And I truly mean that. Like, if you can watch guys in and out of there who can kind of live in the zone and not necessarily all around the zone, and as the season progresses, you see them do that outing in and outing out, I think that's when you're going to sit here and say, oh, wow, because if you have that kind of top-end stuff, stuff, meaning the actual velo and the ability to spin it and do those things, if you have the stuff, and then now you can do that in the zone as well, and then as you're able to do that in the zone, when you're able to manipulate the zone and actually move balls out of the zone after it, that's when you become really dangerous. So I think early on in the season, if you've seen a whole bunch of guys they can run them out there, and they're filling up the zone and are able to get ahead and count, I think that's when it becomes, okay, this is serious, because as they get into SEC play, they're not only going to have to fill it up, but then you're going to have to learn how to put it away and actually move it out of the zone after. But you're only really able to do that if you can establish the zone early first. So, that's the biggest thing for me when I watch this team and how I'm going to look at them is we've heard all season about what they actually have and the ability and the talent that they have in them out. Are they going to be able to produce? Is production actually going to come with it? And that's what I think you need to be looking for.
Jared, and I didn't prep you for this. I know you got to cover the whole league, so you may not be able to answer this. But is there a guy on this LSU staff, a newcomer that you're particularly excited to see for one reason or another?
Yeah, man. And it's honestly, it's not the newcomer in him, but I feel like the version of him you're going to see this year because of how much time he's been down, but how much time he's been out in college, and because of the year that he played in and what they were able to do that year, and I guess obviously where he wasn't because of the injury, I'm really excited to see Chase Shores, man. I just truly am. But I think people forget early on that year he was sitting 97 to 100.
Yeah.
And what I mean by seeing him again is you got 2 years in college. Hopefully that velo is back up towards that area. But 2 years in college of you learning and sitting behind Paul Skeens and talking with Paul Skeens and sitting and talking to all these other guys, he's able to really find a second pitch that he can actually really use. And I think if he's able to do that and have 2 pitches that are pretty much dominant pitches that he can throw for strikes anytime he wants, and obviously I'm sure he's got a third that he can mix in there sometime as well. I think we're sitting here watching oh, wow, this is a built-in cheat code, right? Because you didn't realize that guy that maybe – because if he can do those things, he's going to end up being your Friday night guy. And if he's your Friday night guy, no one looked at that being the case coming into the year if you really didn't have a good grasp of what the roster was and what the outlook of it would be. I guess I'll give you one more.
Okay.
This one is interesting to me, right? I think the hometown kid you got in William Schmidt is going to be very interesting, and I'm so curious to see what he looks like, because the indications I've gotten from the things that I've heard around the program is they want to be able to bring these young guys along slower. If you're able to bring him along slower, but because of the type of top-end stuff that he has, I could see him being used the way Arkansas used their closer last year, or the young kid that they had as a closer last year, and you put him at the back end of the bullpen, and it's tough to be able to deal with that guy for 3 to 6 outs. It just is, with that kind of top-end stuff. So I'm really interested to see what he does, because I kid you not, I've heard his name since he was probably 11 or 12 years old.
It's incredible, man. I mean, you talk about a guy that was a top 10 prospect in the country who decides to forego the draft, lands at LSU, and, man, if you're talking about a back end of the bullpen guy with that kind of talent, it does speak to the depth the staff has. Jerit Mitchell is with us, of course, SEC Network. Actually, just this week joined us at Guarantee. I got some more baseball questions for you, but let us know, Jerit, for those, because we had so many people that listen and watch in Houston and Dallas, LSU fans, people that have moved out of state. What are you doing with us at Guarantee there in Houston?
Business development, man. So I'll be working on trying to business development on a digital marketing side. I will be kind of the one that's the bridge, the liaison to kind of put things into the team, the great team that we have set in place at Guarantee, to be able to kind of help people do what they need to do on the marketing side, on the advertising side, and bringing their brand and the things that they do to another level. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm looking forward to getting into the community here and learning about all the businesses and things that go on here. It's been a good process so far. I'm enjoying it.
If y'all are a business in the Houston, Dallas area, anywhere over there, you get in touch with Jerit if you're interested in digital marketing. I mean, work with a former Tiger great. Who else would you rather work with? Hey, a couple more for you. You mentioned also the depth in the outfield. And Jay Johnson said, man, they got 8 guys that he feels comfortable that he can run out there and not have a drop-off. I'm interested, Jerit, because we look at guys like Larson and Pearson, who were starters for you a year ago, but might be fighting for their job this year. And you played out there. How do you sort of make sense of what you do with 8 guys that can all give you some run out there in the outfield?
I think that's the thing. So, like, the last couple of years, we've seen Jay really bring in some talented rosters. I think what the last couple of years have also kind of shown us, and obviously, honestly, since the day he's shown up at LSU, is he's found a way to settle into having guys that have experience in his outfield as the season has gotten into the thick of it and kind of gotten to the back part of it. So I'm leaning towards possibly seeing that. That's what I feel like is going to happen because you have the guys like a Larson, who's a second year, who's poised for a breakout. Because you have a guy like Pearson, who's in the program, who's been in the program forever, who's had so many big at-bats in the program and has come through in the clutch so many times. Like, you just can't there's no way you're going to sit here and tell me like a guy like that is just not going to play a big role on the team. So I expect to see guys like that. I expect to see a Jake Brown take the next level, take the next step. I expect to see Stanfield get a lot of runs. Like, I just do. And as the back end of the season comes, I'm expecting, because that's been what Jay has shown so far, that those guys that have experience, especially in this league, they end up kind of trumping everything and finding a way to, I guess, rise to the top. But make no mistake about it, the Derek Curiels and guys like that they've made a loud name for themselves so far. So it's interesting to see how this thing play out.
Hey, offensively, you got to replace Tommy White. No easy task. Hayden Travinski, who gave you so many big at-bats during his time in Baton Rouge. Who are you looking to offensively that you think could be key contributors, take a big step up this year?
I think this one's no surprise at all. But I will say this. For me, I think the biggest thing that they have coming back to this team is the ability to have Bear Jones come back. Now, obviously, look, Bear Jones himself is great. I think if Bear Jones is gone, you kind of ask, which I think is hard to do, is you ask guys who haven't played in Alex Box, who haven't played in the SEC, who hasn't played in these kind of situations, in these arenas. You ask those guys to kind of step up and really assert themselves as the guy in the middle of the lineup. And that's tough to do on this stage. So I think by having Bear Jones back in that lineup, he knows who he is. He's had a lot of at-bats in his league. He's going to be a high-end performer for you. And it's going to allow those other guys that have power to not have to – they don't have to feel like they got to step in and be the guy. They can kind of fit in and do their role and do their thing. And I think that's going to allow the rest of the lineup to flourish. I think it's going to allow those guys to play well at a much earlier time and for a much longer time. And I think if you're able to do that, that lineup is going to be real potent.
Jared Mitchell, hey, before you go, if LSU doesn't win the SEC this year, who does?
If LSU doesn't win it, who does? You got to look at an A&M, right? Like, I mean, they're returning so many of the guys that they are. It's, but you got a rookie head coach. So when things get tough in the middle of the year, where are they going to be at that time? I think that's kind of one of the things you got to look at. And you also got to look at it at Arkansas, right? Like, they have the staff that they have. Supposedly, they're supposed to be a better hitting team this year as well, so you can't sleep on a team like that. Those two teams, in my mind, kind of come to the forefront first and foremost when I think about this thing, but it is the SEC. I think there's 9 of these teams that are rated in the top 25 out of the league, and you know how this thing goes. There's always going to be one that kind of pops up out of nowhere that we didn't expect, so Georgia's ranked higher this year. What are they going to do? There's a lot of teams that are in the mix. But I would have to look at those first two. That's the teams that come to my mind first.
Jared Mitchell, former Tiger, great, now working with us at Guarantee, based out of Houston. And, of course, you'll see him this baseball season on the SEC Network. Hey, man, we appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting plenty over the baseball season, man. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, man. I appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Be well. Jared Mitchell, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. Had a great meeting over at Parrish today. Talking a little marketing, a little video marketing. Hey, I want to remind you, though, one of the things that I hear so consistently from our customers is financing, is the benefit of financing. A lot of times, listen, this is, if you got an issue with your roof, I mean, it's your home. You have got to fix your roof. And sometimes you have to replace your roof. If insurance won't cover it, do you have the cash to be able to replace your roof? If not, we have financing options available. We can even finance your deductible. So if insurance does cover it, but you have a deductible and you're having trouble finding that cash and you want to pay for it and finance it, we can help you do that as well. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Tell you every day to do business with someone you know. You go to the homepage of our website, there's a video of Kim Mulkey right there. We've done work at Coach Mulkey's house, members of her family. If Coach Mulkey trusted us, shouldn't you? It's me, it's Terrio, it's Richard Tilley, it's Joe Morales, it's Trent Davis, it's our great staff. We're Louisiana, born and bred and raised, and 3 decades of experience with all of our staff. It's Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. So go to the website, fill out the form on the homepage, parishbuilt.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're here. Michael Cauble will join us from Mobile in about 30 minutes, talk about how the LSU Tigers did day 1 on the practice field. We'll get to that. When we come back, we've talked so much about what the Saints might do with Derek Carr this offseason. There's 2 other players that the Saints are facing a massive decision coming up here in the coming weeks about what their futures will be. And I want to talk about those guys next on AFR.
After Further Review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. But we always talk about, if you've been injured, all the many ways that Gordon can help and Gordon's team can help, but so much more than just injury attorneys. Gordon and his staff have made a commitment to giving back to the community. You can go look at GordonGives.com. That's the philanthropic arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. We talk a lot about the NIL initiatives, but, you go look at the community tab and you'll see the Student Scholarship Program, Stepping for Diabetes, Stuff the Bus 2018, things like the Bengal Group, the James Davies Memorial. There's so many different ways that Gordon has given back to the community in charitable endeavors. You can learn more. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She says she's got a dream and I ask what it is. She wants a little farm and a yard full of kids. And makes my tractor sexy. It really turns her on.
Shout out to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Gator zero-turn mowers. Got it all for you. SunnyQuip.com. SunnyQuip.com. Thank you. All right. Cauble in about 25 minutes from the Senior Bowl. So we've talked plenty about Derek Carr's future in New Orleans, and that's a big decision the Saints are going to have to make. There's a really interesting piece up at ESPN where they looked at Sam Darnold and what the Vikings do with Sam Darnold. Of course, they drafted J.J. McCarthy. He was injured. Darnold went and had a massive season. They went 14-3. So now what do you do with Darnold? And then the domino effect across the NFL. And one of the quarterbacks that they talked about, of course, is Derek Carr, who carries a $51.5 million cap hit for 2025. It's the fourth highest in the NFL, by the way. Think about that. 53-man roster, 32 teams. Derek Carr has the fourth highest cap hit for next year. Derek Carr. That's the product of gross mismanagement of your roster and your salary cap. But you know my feeling on that. Look, they could cut Derek Carr, designate him a post-June 1 release, and they could save nearly $30 million against the cap this year. Be a massive cap savings. You would kick money into 2026, but it may be something that you have to do for cap compliance this year. And with the cap going up every year because revenue goes up, it may end up working out. Anyway, you look at 2025, we know the cap number isn't good for the Saints. As it stands now, they're roughly $50 million over the cap, so they still got a lot of work to do. And cutting Derek Carr, designating him as a post-June 1 release would help out tremendously there. But you're not going to make a decision on Derek Carr until you hire a coach, because there's two ways to look at it. If you hire a coach that understands you're going into a rebuild, okay, then you can cut Derek Carr. You can take your lumps this year with Haener, Rattler, probably bring in a veteran free agent for 1 year like Jimmy Garoppolo, a Jacoby Brissett, someone like that. So you'd have a veteran on the team, and then young players. You're going to stink. You just go in understanding it's going to be brutal. You're going to get a top 5 pick and try to draft your franchise. It's what the Bengals did when they hired Zach Taylor. They were awful in his first year. They got the first pick. They drafted Joe Burrow. They were better, but still bad. And then in Taylor's third year, Burrow's second, they went to the Super Bowl. Now, that's a ambitious way to look at it, but that's possible in a year where next year where it looks like in 2020, the 2026 draft should be a deep quarterback draft class with Arch Manning and Nussmeier and Drew Aller, and it should be a lot of really talented players in next year's quarterback draft class. Anyway, but Carr is the one that everyone's going to focus on, and rightfully so. High profile, expensive, all that stuff. But Chris Olave and Trevor Penning are two players that the Saints are going to have to make a pretty important decision about this offseason as well. Those are guys that were former first-round draft picks that have just finished their third year in the league. So now New Orleans is going to have to decide whether or not, in this offseason, whether or not they're going to pick up those two players' fifth-year options. So remember, if you draft a player in round 1, you have them for 4 years with a fifth-year option. But if you pick up that fifth-year option, you pay the average salary of the 3rd to 25th highest paid players at that position in the NFL. So, for example, Trevor Penning's fifth-year option, this is according to Over the Cap, the estimate over the cap, would be about $17.4 million, and Chris Olave's fifth-year option would be at $15.1 million. Now, but for the injuries, Chris Olave would be an easy decision, right? I mean, he was a 1,000-yard receiver each of his first 2 seasons in the NFL, but this year, Chris Olave played just half the season because of the concussion issues, and when you're talking about a guy with the recurring concussion issues that Olave has had, And then on top of that, even though he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to start his career, he still hasn't played a full 17-game season. As a rookie, he played in 15. In 2023, he missed 1 game. And then this year, played in 8 games. So he missed 9 games this season. So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. But even if you look at the way Olave was trending in 2024 before the injuries, he was averaging 50 yards and 4 catches per game before the injury shut him down. So he was pacing for season lows. Now, we could say, look, part of that was after Derek Carr's injury, new offensive coordinator. There's a lot of excuse making. But it still doesn't change the fact that you got to make a decision with the sample size you have about Penning and Olave. Now, to me, Penning's an easy one. There's no way you can pick up this guy's option. You're encouraged by the fact that he became a starter for you, and actually on a line that became a mash unit, your 2 tackles, your rookie Taliesin Fuanga and Trevor Penning, your tackles, became sort of your stalwarts. I mean, those guys were out there. And Penning played every game for you. So after sort of an injury-plagued and very disappointing first 2 seasons, Penning wasn't good, but he became a starter. Similar to the way that Cesar Ruiz did and has. He's not been a great player at his position, but he has become a consistent starter. And Penning did that this year. Now, do you run it back with Penning at right tackle? Do you try to move him to guard? Maybe he plays left guard for you as you're still trying to find a permanent option there. And maybe that's Penning, or maybe he stays on the right side at tackle. Either way, it's hard to justify a $17 million number for Trevor Penning in his 5th season. What is more likely to happen is you decline the 5th-year option. Penning plays 2025, his 4th year, and effectively is playing in a contract year. And then you pay him appropriately if you want to re-sign him. You pay him appropriately based on what he does in 2025. And if he becomes a guy that's not a viable starter, then you're going to pay him like a backup or he's going to go somewhere else. And if he does start and play very well for you, then you assess what type of contract you want to give him. And there's always the possibility another team could sign him away. But more than likely, what will happen is what's happened with the other players that the Saints have declined their 5th-year option. And they're going to end up back in New Orleans just on a lesser deal. So just for what it's worth, there's 3 players. If you go back the last 15 years or so, go back to 2010, there's 3 players that the Saints really, well, another one they traded away, but there's 3 players where they declined the 5th-year option. Peyton Turner, this was his 5th year, so they declined his 5th-year option. So Peyton Turner, now you got to make a decision. Are you going to re-sign him? Are you going to pay him? Are you going to let him walk? What do you do? But they declined Peyton Turner's 5th-year option. Cesar Ruiz, they declined his 5th-year option, so he went into free agency and the Saints re-signed him at a much more manageable number. And then people forget this one, but the Saints declined Mark Ingram's 5th-year option as well. And I know people have accused me of Mark Ingram catches strays on the show from time to time, and people find it odd because, he was the Saints, leading rusher and all that stuff. It's now, Alvin Kamara's broken those records. But the bottom line is Mark Ingram came in as a first-round pick where you drafted Cam Jordan, traded back into round 1 to get Mark Ingram, and he was so bad that you didn't pick up his 5th-year option. He became stable as a counterpunch to Alvin Kamara, which was nice to see. But Mark Ingram certainly wasn't a first-round worthy running back. If Mark Ingram was an undrafted free agent or a day 3 guy that became a serviceable contributor for you, cool. If he was Pierre Thomas, awesome. Undrafted free agent who became a good player for you. But that's not what Mark Ingram was. So that's why I always say that about Ingram. He wasn't a great player relative to what you gave up to get him. Anyway, the other was Stephon Anthony, but he was atrocious, and you traded him down to Miami. So that's what I think. Penning to me is the easy one. You're not picking up Trevor Penning's 5th-year option. You can't justify paying him $17 million. Olave is the trickier one because if he were healthy, it would be easy, but he hasn't shown that he could be healthy. My guess is they pick up Chris Olave's 5th-year option anyway. But when you look at the top tier, this year in 2024, there were 24 pass catchers that had 1,000-yard seasons. So you look at how you want to pay Chris Olave, and you say, okay, well, is he more Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas, who, by the way, were the top 3 pass catchers in the NFL this year? Well, they have in common, you know. Or the last guys that had 1,000-yard seasons like Nico Collins or Jamison Williams. I mean, Olave had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons to start his career, and he's probably closer to the bottom of that list. So he's probably not worth $15 million a year. Just candidly, he's not worth that. But do you really want to risk Olave next year coming back healthy, having a massive season, and then being paid requisite to the market, or having another team come and offer more and sign him away, and so you lose a guy because you failed to pick up the fifth-year option over a couple $1 million? But these are the types of questions you have and conundrums that you have when you've poorly managed your salary cap. And so $1 million here or there does matter dramatically because you have mismanaged your cap so badly. But we're going to talk a lot about Derek Carr for the obvious reasons. But the Saints are going to have to make a decision as well on Olave and Penning in their fifth-year option. For whatever it's worth, that window to pick up a player's fifth-year option opened on January the 6th, so it's already open, and it closes right after the draft on May the 1st. So they don't have to make a decision now. They can wait till after the draft, ultimately, to make that decision on what they're going to do. But the Penning decision's easy. The Olave one, because of the injury history, makes it a little more complex. I think ultimately they will end up picking up Olave's fifth-year option, but we'll wait and see. Just something else to follow, way to keep in mind that they got to do here this offseason. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. Gents, we're a couple of weeks away from Valentine's Day. Don't screw it up. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Whatever your budget, don't be intimidated. Don't think, I can't afford that. Lee Michaels has something in the case for whatever budget that you have. And they're going to work with you. No matter your budget, they're going to make you feel special. Because when you go to buy a piece of jewelry at Lee Michaels, it is a special occasion. They want you to be thrilled. They want her to be thrilled. You to be excited to give her that gift in the red box. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You can shop online to see a lot of their selection and pricing. You can go see them at any of their 9 locations. 2 of them in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all. We'll knock out a break, wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers and the pros. Cauble from the Senior Bowl in Mobile getting us caught up on the LSU guys. That's in 15 minutes from right now. A lot of other things I want to get to in hour number 3, including, I don't know if you've noticed, but here in recent weeks, there have been some support staff members that are no longer with the LSU football program. And there's one very common underlying factor with most of them that I want to talk about, again, coming up here in about 30 minutes from right now, because I think it's very indicative of what Brian Kelly is doing with his staff. And I'll tell you what I mean in 30 minutes. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, we're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Not too late, y'all. Still king cake season. And if you want that Rouse's king cake, you can get it at any of the Rouse's locations. And, of course, if you want to ship a Rouse's king cake to someone in any part of the lower 48, Rouse's can do that for you as well. So go to the website, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. You can click on the king cake flipper right there, and they'll show you how you can ship that king cake anywhere in the country. So if you got family members that moved out of state, maybe clients out of state, you want to send them a little taste of Carnival, Rouse's helps you do it. Go to the website, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hit the king cake flipper right there, and you can see how you can ship your Rouse's king cake anywhere in the country. Also, as we count down to Super Bowl 59, Rouse's is hosting the New Orleans Saints Lombardi Trophy Tour, making the rounds. So a lot of different Rouse's locations. Find the one nearest you. Rouse's, this feels like home.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Matthew Bowser Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, some more LSU news surrounding the Pro Bowl here set for this weekend, I should say, or the Pro Bowl games, whatever. Jaden Daniels will now no longer represent the NFC on the Pro Bowl team. So that leaves LSU now with 7 Pro Bowlers. It was 8 yesterday when Malik Neighbors was added. Now 7 with Daniels pulling out. No real reason given by Daniels, but the news, or the decision, I should say, was made after
they fired him. He gave up 55 in the championship game, so they fired him.
That was him, the quarterback. Yeah.
Gave up 55. Did you see that, Muse?
I saw the Eagles. I saw the Eagles scored 55 on the Commanders' defense.
Who's the quarterback of the Commanders?
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, exactly.
The decision, coincidentally, was made after last Sunday's loss to the Eagles in the NFC Championship.
I don't think a coincidence. I think not.
You think not? Nas Reed, a night of go. Dropped 15, added 3 boards, all that in 29 minutes of play. 6 of 9 from the floor, really effective from 3 as well, draining 3 of his 5 attempts there. +4, and the Timberwolves got another win. Tari Eason was on the floor again for the Rockets. Good to see his health really staying the course here. 6 points, 6 boards, all off the bench for him as well. Rough night shooting, but did ultimately end up with 6 points. His 2 made shots, both 3-pointers. That's how that works out. And then keep an eye out here. Math. I'm not great at it, but I can do that math. Javonte Smart, coming off a heater of a ball game, will be on the floor again tonight as the Osceola Magic take the floor in the G League. Coming off a 19.4 assist outing is Javonte Smart. We'll give you an update on how he did. That game set to tip off right as we go off the air. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli.com. At Michelli, remember they say we show the world what measurement can do. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products used to weigh and measure. ISO 17025 accreditation available. Get a list of all their services at the website. And if you were looking for a new job, a new career, Michelli is hiring. Always encourage you, go to the website, hit the careers tab. They even have their veteran careers, part of the DoD Skill Bridge industry partner program. Whether you're active duty or you're already a civilian, Michelli would love to help you make that transition into the next phase of life after your military service. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. SportsCenter's coming up and get you caught up on national headlines. Michael Cauble from WBRZ will be here from Mobile, Senior Bowl. Get a check-in on how the Tigers are doing. By the way, Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net, he'll have his Senior Bowl notebook up. It's not up right now. I know he's working on it. He was working on maybe a Cliff Kingsbury piece that should be going up. I'm looking at it right here. Otterlocks is up. Recap of Mason Taylor's interview on Off the Bench earlier today is up. Oh, Muse.
Mason Taylor!
All right, we're late.
AFR.
We'll get to all that later. Hey, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. It's a new year, and we're coming up on tax season when a lot of people are going to be doing their taxes. And boy, a lot of people look for ways to find some tax relief. As a landowner, you incur expenses. There are opportunities for great tax deductions and great tax benefits when you own land. Ask your CPA about the benefits, the tax benefits of owning recreational timber property. Have that conversation with your CPA and then call First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, be it to build your home, for recreational property, of course, if it's 1,000 acres for agriculture, you're looking for that investment property. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. firstsouthland.com.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi with the February 6th NBA trade deadline approaching. The Heat has stepped up its efforts to deal the disgruntled Jimmy Butler, has come down to what it's looking for in a Butler trade, likely leading to more teams inquiring about him. And there's one team Butler should reconsider, one where he'd have an immediate impact. ESPN NBA analyst Danny Green.
Memphis Grizzlies. They're a top-seeded team in the West. They've been very good. They're young. They need some edgy, some toughness defensively. They need that another wing. If he goes to Memphis, I think he automatically, I wouldn't say automatically, but he puts them in contention and a group that can be, a winning team for some years to come. And they probably have the money to give him that extension he's looking for as well.
Miami suspended Butler indefinitely yesterday when he walked out of practice after learning he would not start last night. His third suspension this month. 76ers forward Paul George has a finger tendon injury. His return to play to be determined. WNBA, ESPN's reporting Phoenix finalizing a trade to acquire one of the top players in the world, forward Alyssa Thomas from Connecticut, for Natasha Cloud, Rebecca Allen, and the 12th overall pick in this year's draft.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Go!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Got a lot of LSU football stuff to get you here in hour number 3, including a common tie that binds of a lot of the staff moves that LSU football has made. I'll explain here in about 15 minutes from right now. But Senior Bowl going on in Mobile. Of course, Hester and T-Bob are there, covering it, hosting their show Off the Bench. Our guy Ross Jackson for LouisianaSports.net covering the Saints. Michael Cauble from WBRZ Television is there covering the Tigers, and he's here with us right now. Cobbs, how are you?
Doing well, Matthew. How are you?
Man, do you really have me on speaker?
Do you want me to pick up on the headset?
My goodness.
I mean,
I thought you were a
just
pro. What are we doing?
Crushing it on I-10 here. So
I'm also massively disappointed in Muse for not, did you have the handset when he called you?
No, I didn't. No, Bowser's not on his game today. What can we say?
I'll tell you, man. I mean, par for the course with this guy, right? He's too busy looking up Chinese Football League stats over there. Did you ever pull up your audio, by the way?
I did, and I'd actually love to play that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Chinese audio football guy. All right. So, anyway, leave us on, I guess, on speaker, whatever. Our audience just...
Oh, no.
Our audience
I'm
can just
here.
hear... Our audience
I'm here for you.
Our audience can just hear the wind bustling by. Hey, so first day on the field, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Gorgeous day.
Okay.
South Alabama's Hancock Whitney Stadium is what it is. It's the first time for me being there. Great setting. Really love it. Easy to get around. 5 LSU Tigers, 4 on offense, 1 on defense. And I'll tell you what, Matt, it was something to see. 3 LSU helmets lined up next to each other out there in a all-star type setting. It was cool to see. And obviously, the guys are excited about working with their teammates a little bit longer.
I'm sorry. Would those be 3 on the offensive line, I would assume?
Yeah, it was Miles Frazier, Emery, and then Mason Taylor, all lined up right there. They had a lot of Taylor! Fantastic. A lot of Mason Taylor blocking action today. I tell you what, I only saw him catch a ball, and in most of the plays that they were running, he was staying in the block. Because I think that's something that they obviously want to see, and it's something we talked to Mason about after practice, and he understands kind of where they're at and what he needs to show, and that's something that he's working hard on, quite honestly, and he wasn't surprised at all to see them want him to do as much blocking as he did.
What did you get to do today? I mean, is just observing practice? Did you get to talk to players and coaches? What was the day like?
So you have the entire practice to watch, shoot video, take notes, whatever, and then you have a sparkling, crisp 10 minutes after practice is over to try to get as much audio and video interviews as you can muster. And so luckily I was able to get all 5 LSU players that were there. Didn't get to talk to, any of the other players that you might want to talk to, like Jack Besh or Jackson Dart or anyone else. They were available. I was just concentrating on the LSU guys today.
Anything of note?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting watching Garrett Dellinger, come back to practice, right? Obviously, it's the first action we've seen from him since he had the tightrope ankle surgery, and he looks pretty rough to start. I think he even admitted that. Took him a little while to knock the rust off and get kind of going, but he did get going actually later. He looked good at center. I actually thought he looked better at center than he did at guard. They did move Emery into guard as well for a couple of snaps. Not a ton. He played tackle most of the time alongside Miles Frazier. Look for them to probably be the starting combo along the offensive line. But no, I thought he looked, serviceable at guard. And afterwards, we asked him about that as well, and he said, it's just a chance for him to show his position flexibility, and something that he looks forward to doing, quite honestly. Talked to Miles Frazier, very confident, in his game and excited about the opportunity to showcase it in this Senior Bowl week. And he's the guy that really came on strong. I thought he might have had the best day out of anybody for LSU. Savion Jones is there for the defense. Kind of in a little bit of a reserved role, I would say. It didn't seem like he was in the mix too often, but he's a guy that, I think had a really good season for LSU and has a chance to maybe get a little bit of attention, for himself on a defense that wasn't great, probably got overlooked or glanced over, So I think maybe this is a chance for him to, get in front of some people and show them what he's capable of. He said he's playing maybe a little heavier than he would have liked. I think he's at 289. So they're looking at him inside as well as on the edge. Again, I think it's just kind of the process, right? And I think that's what's so important for these 5 guys is their ability to kind of go through the process, get in the interview room, meet some of these teams. And as Emery told me, just the ability to kind of have this precursor to the combine so that he's even more comfortable when, the bright lights of the combine come on.
Go back to I'm looking at some practice video of Savion Jones from earlier today. What kind of stuff were the defensive guys doing, and did he stand out at all today, good or bad?
No, I don't think he stood out. That was the thing. It wasn't good or bad. It wasn't good though. Like you say that and it sounds like it's bad, but it's not. He just wasn't remarkable, right? Like he was there. That's what I'm saying. And like as a guy that obviously I'm following, I'm waiting for him to have kind of a breakout moment or do something, that gets a little bit of crowd reaction, and it just wasn't the case. Now, they didn't – today was day 1 of practice, as you alluded to, so it wasn't like they were really going all out. And, they were set up in some one-on-one situations, but that doesn't necessarily favor him the way that it would in a game-type situation. So he was rather unremarkable, but I don't think that should be taken with a negative connotation. I just think there's different aspect to his game that people are going to have to kind of figure out how to best utilize him. Again, he said he's gotten positive remarks regarding his speed and his quickness. To me, it seemed like he was, I won't say a step slow, but he didn't have that burst that you're looking for from an end position. So I'll be curious to see how they utilize him going forward and maybe what his draft stock looks like, because I think he's got some work to do there.
Okay. Michael Cauble is with us, sports director, WBRZ. He's on Twitter at Cauble. He's in Mobile. Are you driving home or are you staying in Mobile?
No, baby, I am driving home right now.
So just one day out there. So how much does Jalen Milroe stink?
It's funny. I heard you earlier talking about that, and honestly, I wasn't looking at him like to really realize that he had eight in a row that he didn't complete. But yeah, his hands were small. I did notice it now that we all brought it up, right? But him and T-Bob, I guess, are shaking hands in the hotel tonight.
Just so weird, right, to see Jalen Milroe have 8 straight incomplete passes, right? Like who possibly could have foreseen that happening, right? I mean,
Not me.
I don't know, right? Skipping footballs to dudes, throwing interceptions. I don't know. Who saw that coming?
Who saw it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Me either. Weird. Because I thought he was awesome, Cauble. I thought he was a Heisman winner and like the number 1 overall pick, and he's awesome, right?
I really thought he was going to have a year, and he absolutely did not. You are correct.
Yeah.
You were correct, Matt. I was wrong. I thought he was going to take the step forward, and he did not. You were right. I am wrong. Ooh, we said an 18-wheeler cut off a car. Good time.
Cauble. Drive safely. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely, and you can watch those reports tonight.
Oh, yes.
On WBRZ, the only TV station from Baton Rouge following the LSU Tigers in Mobile today at the Senior Bowl. And in case you're scoring at home, Brian Kelly is reported to be coming to the Senior Bowl on Thursday.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, that's good. We'll see. Do you know what time?
What time BK will be there?
Yeah.
I do not. It'll be in the afternoon. I don't know what their practice is.
Well, we have a radio
bringing
show.
Them home early?
Well, we have a radio. Well, no, they go. I mean, that's what they say, that there's nothing really going on Friday, so they do their show Thursday, and then they come home after the show Thursday. I don't know. I've never been to the Senior Bowl. They go and cover it every year, so I just wish BK was there earlier in the day so we get him on OTB.
I wish he was there today. You're absolutely right.
Well, you made a commitment to be there one day. We're there for 4 days, so we
good
win.
on you and LeBears for sponsoring your Senior Day coverage, Senior Bowl coverage. There you go.
Look at our guy.
Conversion.
That is a pro. A pro knows to get the sponsor plug in, to make sure you get the plug in for WBRZ. So you're watching the news tonight at 6 and 10. See video of Jalen Milroe stinks.
See ya.
Later, Cauble. We appreciate it. He's on Twitter at Cauble. Give him a follow. Let me follow up there when we come back, because there was an interesting piece today that I came across about defections to the draft. We talk so much about the portal, like who you gain and lose in the portal now. I think we've lost sight of who you lose early to the draft, because those numbers have dropped dramatically, but pretty impactful, in particular for what it means for LSU and their opponents in 2025. We'll get to that. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. Give them a shout, y'all. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Maybe with all the snow, the freeze last week, any issues with your HVAC, your heater, not keeping up, maybe funny noises, funny smells. Our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air can come by and take a look. Don't leave it to chance. I know I tell you all the time about you want it to be efficient. You want your unit to be efficient so that way it saves you money and also so it lasts, right? I mean, it's just like an oil change for your car. I mean, you got to do maintenance to make sure that it lasts for you. But more important than all of that is safety. You hear about terrible stories every single year with heaters and malfunctioning and fires, and like, I'm not trying to scare you. It's just something we all as homeowners need to be diligent about. River City's 1 Hour Air can help. 752-0001.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't into cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, it runs light up. She thinks my tractor.
Never heard that song before. Psych! Do people still do psych jokes? Does anybody say that? No?
I don't think so. I haven't heard one of those in a while.
You know what?
Should make a comeback. Those were good.
You know what? I don't know. You know what's interesting, though? Like, people a lot of times, I don't know what's correct here. People will spell, like, S-I-K-E, psych, you know? I've always interpreted psych as, like, they're psyching you out, like a psychological advantage, which would be P-S-Y-C-H. Psych, right? And I know that's what it is. It's like a psychological advantage. You're going psych, I'm psyching you out. So it is P-S-Y-C-H, but I think like S-I-K-E is just sort of like an accepted spelling there.
So Google says psych, S-I-K-E, is a slang term that means something is not true, while psych, P-S-Y-C-H, is short for the word psychology.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's where it's rooted. There's no doubt it's where it's rooted. It's just a matter of like, is psych, S-I-K-E, an acceptable form of the root, which we all know is psych, like your using a psychological advantage. These are the things that I think about. That's why I did really well on the like English and reading comprehension part of the ACT. And when I struggle to add like passing yardage totals together from game to game, or how many interceptions someone had in 2 games, that's why I made like a 12 in the math part.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Bad at math. Really bad at math.
I think everybody in this room is bad at math.
Paul, are you bad at math?
Terrible at math.
Oh, really? I wonder why that is. I don't know. I mean, it obviously correlates to our profession, or do you think that's just a coincidence?
No, I think it is a correlation. I do.
Somebody's calling me.
At 5:20?
Yeah. It's a spam risk.
Ah, man.
Yeah. Jimmy slept. Yeah, he was asleep yesterday.
Oh.
That's why we missed Otterlocks. For those that missed Otterlocks yesterday, Jimmy wasn't here because he fell asleep.
Okay.
And if I were to quote Eric from Billy Madison, did you fall asleep or did you pass out? Shut up! Which he might have passed out.
He might have.
He might have. Knowing the Otter.
Busy Monday.
A nice little Monday, actually. When you go do, you're doing your show at a restaurant every day, maybe doing a little day drinking.
That's the best kind of drinking.
I don't know if it's the best, but it is enjoyable. No. When you got no responsibility, nothing to do, you can have yourself a little cocktail.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to do. But Otterlocks are already posted at LouisianaSports.net. Remember, LouisianaSports.net is completely free, always, everything. No paywalls, no article limits, ever, no freemium, no subscriptions, just everything free, always. So you want Otterlocks, it's posted. Hunt's got he's doing a position preview for LSU baseball right now. Today's preview, which is up, is the catcher spot. I think tomorrow he's got first base lined up. So go check it out. Everything there, free, always. LouisianaSports.net. And I was told OTB will have Mike Kafka on the show tomorrow. And Ross Jackson, I'm told, just completed a chat with Mike Kafka. So that piece of his chat will go up at LouisianaSports.net. Great opportunity to go find our work, LouisianaSports.net. So Senior Bowl is going on, and we just talked to Cauble about the guys at LSU lost, and we think of Senior Bowl and think of seniors, guys like Miles Frazier and Garrett Dellinger and Savion Jones, guys are out of eligibility. But remember, Emory Jones and Mason Taylor are both underclassmen at the Senior Bowl.
Mason Taylor!
That is now, I think for the past couple of seasons, they've changed that rule to where underclassmen who have declared early can go to the draft and go to the Senior Bowl. Well, I think we spend so much time now talking about the portal and portal defections, and rightfully so, because the numbers bear it out that it's worth mentioning, because roughly a quarter of college football goes into the transfer portal every year. So when you talk about a team like Alabama having 24 guys go into the portal, or Arkansas, I believe, had 29 this year, which was the most in the SEC, I mean, you're turning over a quarter to a third of your roster just in the transfer portal. That's not even counting guys who are out of eligibility or the guys who leave early for the draft. So we've focused now so much on, lost production via the portal and what significant players you lost via the portal, but we don't necessarily spend a lot of time or as much time as we used to talking about guys that left early for the draft. And that was always a pretty consistent conversation. Because for years, it was, if you remember, you try to convince guys to stay. And then one of the things that LSU did, I remember this during Les's tenure, is they started recruiting guys to say, hey, 3 years, we're going to get you to the league. Come for three years, and then you're to the league. I mean, that was part of the recruiting pitch. And it bit him a little bit. A guy like Malachi Dupree, for example, was a 5-star wide receiver who had been recruited with Jamal Adams and Leonard Fournette and that whole class, where it was like, all right, 3 years, you're in the league. That dude had no business going to the league after his third year. It was a 7th-round pick and didn't make it. And I remember the player, though, who really was the guy that I think started to change the way LSU approached that was Michael Brockers. Because Brockers came and redshirted in 2009, played as a backup in 2010, blew up in 2011 and went to the draft. So really you got a season and a half out of Brockers. And after that, they were like, you know what? We are just, you show up on campus as a freshman, you're going to play. And we're going to play you for 3 years, and you go off to the league. And then I think they realized the error in the ways and tried to start convincing those guys to stay home. And the first one that really did, or say for a senior year, was Lyle Collins, who had a great senior year, would have been a first-rounder, as we know, except for all that happened around it. But all that history just to say this has been an evolution of how you address and approach roster building and retention of your players. And you are seeing now more guys stay in school because of NIL. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier, in a different era, there's no way Garrett Nussmeier is returning to LSU. But because he can pocket $2 million in NIL, yeah, that's a better option than going maybe being a day 2 pick or a day 3 pick, whatever it would have been. Now you come back, you pocket a couple $1 million in NIL, and maybe you're a first-round pick next year. It incentivizes guys to stay, grow, develop, get better. Jaden Daniels, same thing. Worked out for him. But when you look around, this came up today because this is Shehan Jayaraja. Jayaraja. Shehan Jayaraja. I think I got it. Nailed it. Over at CBS Sports has a piece about the team's hardest hit by early entries into the NFL draft. And he notes 4 teams and then 3 honorable mentions. The 4 are Texas, Georgia, Colorado, and Michigan are the 4 that he mentions that were hit hardest by the draft. And look, keep in mind, Texas and Georgia are 2 playoff teams from the SEC. And Texas has had Quinn Ewers, Kelvin Banks, Isaiah Bond, Jaden Blue, Cameron Williams, Matthew Golden all leave early. Georgia, Malachi Starks, Jalen Walker, Trevi Etienne, Dylan Fairchild, Michael Williams, Jared Wilson, Tyron Ingram Dawson. I mean, they were hit hard. But what I think is the most interesting is that LSU isn't on that list, despite the fact that you're losing 2 starting tackles and, of course, your greatest pass-catching tight end ever in Mason Taylor. So
Mason Taylor!
So you're losing a lot of starts of veteran production there. But when I look at the teams they listed there, by the way, the honorable mentions they mentioned were Arizona, Boise State, and Tennessee. So of the 7 teams they listed, 4 of the 7 were college football playoff teams. 3 of the 4 were SEC teams, Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee. So it's natural to think Texas, Georgia, Tennessee could very well have a step back with what they lost not only in the portal, but also with what they're losing early to the draft. The other part of it as well is I look at LSU, and when you look at the returning production number, which is one of the metrics that we've long looked at to try to forecast success of a team from year to year, what percentage of your returning production, or what percentage of your production returns year to year? Well, for LSU, on the defensive side, it ain't going to be very good because you're losing Major Burns, Sage Ryan, Braden Swinson, Savion Jones, Gio Paez, Greg Penzai, Alexander. You are losing a ton of production, but you're probably going to be more talented than those guys that I just mentioned. Now, Savion Jones and Braden Swinson were really good this year. But in particular, Burns, Sage Ryan, Gio Paez, who I think did yeoman's work for you this year, but didn't have a lot of production, right? That whole position got turned on its head whenever Jacoby and Guillory went down. But anyway, all that to say, LSU probably isn't going to light up that metric when we look at returning production for 2025. But it's probably going to be because of all the guys you're losing on defense. But somebody has to make the tackle, right? Somebody has to be your stat stuffers. And you're losing a lot of those guys, but you're replacing with guys out of the portal that are going to be, I think, even more productive. Offensively, you're losing your top 3 pass catchers, as we know, and you're losing Josh Williams. But again, you went ham in the portal, and you're returning the most important piece, which is your quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier. So interesting that we've talked plenty of portal, haven't talked plenty of early entries to the draft, and the teams that many are going to forecast LSU looking up at, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, might actually be teams that regress a bit, not because of the portal, but because of the guys they lost early to the draft. Just something to file away. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor. It's the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment for your home, for your office building. As a matter of fact, I got pinged on the text line earlier today. An AFR listener named John sent me a picture of my buddy Jim Woodworth from Parish Restoration. There at his office, they were talking about Parish doing some work, some dry fogging there. So if you have mold, think you might, had water intrusion, maybe got mold, odor, maybe it's an illness, flu going around your home or your office building, you want sanitization, this patented non-toxic dry fog will kill dozens of harmful pathogens. So if you want to clean and sanitize your building, commercial or residential, you want Parrish Restoration. It's more cost-effective and it's more efficient. They can dry fog your home in half a day. And it's gonna be cheaper than traditional remediation. It's Parrish Restoration, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab at parishbuilt.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. You probably saw last week, and we talked about it here, several off-field staff members from Brian Kelly's staff were dismissed. And when I look in totality at Brian Kelly's staff, there's a pretty common underlying theme among these changes. Can you guess what it is? I'll tell you next at AFR.
AFR.
There's so many reasons, if you're thinking about building a pool or an outdoor kitchen, to call Duplessis Builders. But one of them, even more than others, is how they help educate you on the process for free. If you go to the website at duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net, there's even a link where they have a book where you can download their guide, and it's basically the guide to building that pool or outdoor kitchen. And it's completely free. You can go to the website, download it, so you can learn more about everything from the very first part of the installation. It's a comprehensive guide, and you can get it right now for free at Duplessis Builders. So go to duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. There's a tab right there at the top of the page that says Our Book. Just tap that, and you can learn so much more about the pool building process. duplessisbuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerit and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, we'll get to Auto Locks here a little more than 10 minutes from right now. Jimmy's plays are up if you want to get them over at louisianasports.net. They're right there on the homepage. There are 3 college basketball plays that Jimmy has tonight. But he'll join us and explain his picks here in about 10 minutes from right now. So last week, we talked a little bit about some of the LSU football off-field support staff members that are no longer with the program. Notably, a couple of former Tigers with Jacoby Stevens and Nick Brissett being let go. But we also learned that Dr. Matt Frakes has left LSU. He's been in charge of nutrition for LSU athletics since Brian Kelly came to Baton Rouge. And he's leaving for what Wilson Alexander over at the Advocate reported is a job in the NFL. And Wilson also reported several other staff members that are no longer at LSU after having been dismissed. There was an analyst who Lester Erb, who worked primarily with the special teams. And another one that probably went under a lot of people's radar is, was Jazz Smith. It's significant that went under people's radar last week. So Jazz Smith was the director of operations for LSU football. And effectively, the other handful of people, Nick Brissett, Jacoby Stevens, assistant director of operations Ricky Jackson, and director of recruiting strategy and events Mariah Turner were all let go as well, all under Jazz Smith's office. And I understand, every LSU fan knows Brian Kelly. Overwhelmingly, everybody knows the coordinators. Fewer fans know all the 10 on-field assistants. A very select number of fans know the analyst. Very few people know anyone in the football program beyond that. But when Brian Kelly came to Baton Rouge, there were 2 people that he brought. Well, there was a lot of people he brought from Notre Dame. But 2 in particular that were the key off-field people for Brian Kelly were Beth Rex and Jazz Smith. So Beth Rex was the chief of staff, was her title. And she was with Brian Kelly at Cincinnati, at Notre Dame, and then came to LSU as well. And we talked about Beth Rex leaving, and Beth wasn't fired. She left in the fall. But, to say it really in no uncertain terms, LSU hired Austin Thomas, and as Austin's role grew, he took a lot of the responsibilities that Beth had, and it stands to reason she didn't like it. The job that she had, the responsibilities she had were being diluted, and so she left. And she had been with Brian Kelly since Cincinnati. There was nothing nefarious there. Just they brought Austin Thomas on as the general manager, and he took a lot of those responsibilities. And so Beth Rex left and is leaving for another opportunity, which is totally fine. That happens. That happens professionally a lot of places. There was no explanation given for Jazz Smith leaving. And Zach Greenwell, who's an LSU spokesperson, he took Cody Worsham's job. And Zach does a great job as well. But Zach confirmed to Wilson Alexander that Jazz Smith is no longer with the program. And what I'm comfortable telling you is that she was dismissed. This is another interesting one because Jazz Smith was the director of operations. Basically, Beth Rex was the chief of staff. She was Brian Kelly's right hand. But everything related to what LSU did that wasn't on the field, Jazz Smith coordinated all that. So when LSU goes to the bowl game and you got to set up where you're going to practice and when the team's going to eat and where the food's going to be, or when you go before home games when everybody moves to the Renaissance Hotel and you have to have everything coordinated there in meeting rooms, all that stuff. Who's coordinating all that? Well, Jazz was coordinating all that. It's a very important role. And I don't know why, to be very clear, that she was dismissed. But Jazz Smith was on Brian Kelly's staff at Notre Dame. She graduated from Notre Dame, was on Brian Kelly's staff for 3 years as the director of on-campus football recruiting for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. She left to take a job as a manager for the Special Olympics in Miami in 2021. And then when Brian Kelly got the LSU job, he brought her here. So she'd been with him for 3 years at Notre Dame, left Notre Dame to take a job with the Special Olympics in Miami, and then Brian Kelly rehired her here to tell you what he thought of her. But all of this is to say, when you look back when Brian Kelly got the job at LSU in 2022, he did what I thought at the time was a good job of blending a staff, on-field and support staff, of people who knew him and his expectations from Notre Dame and in prior, and people who knew LSU, right? Like, very notably, hiring Frank Wilson was massive. You have to have someone who knows how to recruit New Orleans. Frank Wilson, royalty, great hire. Retaining Brad Davis, very smart decision. They brought on people who knew the program, like we mentioned, Nick Brissett, Jacoby Stevens. Anyway, did a very good job of blending people that knew LSU, knew Louisiana. Even the new coaches, Joe Sloan coming down from Louisiana Tech. And then his people who came with him from Notre Dame. But what do you notice about these decisions and what's happened? Like, Brian Polian was a chief lieutenant for Brian Kelly. After 1 year, he was gone because it didn't work. Making him recruiting coordinator, I think, is probably still to this point the biggest mistake. That and dismissing Corey Raymond. Probably the two biggest mistakes Brian Kelly made initially when he got the job. And Kerry Cooks, he brought from Notre Dame to coach in the secondary. That didn't work. And you've got Corey getting that thing right again with the right personnel. But my goodness, Kerry Cooks and Robert Steeples was a terrible decision. There's Beth Rex, who's now gone, and Austin Thomas, as the GM, has taken over that role. Matt Frakes, who's in charge of nutrition. And Matt wasn't dismissed, but he's taken an NFL job. He came from Notre Dame and is now gone. I mentioned Jazz Smith, who has now been dismissed. I think I can go double check here, but I think the only person still on staff, and look, you're talking about your on-field assistants and 30-some-odd support staff members. I mean, LSU's football program is massive. There might be someone I'm forgetting here as I scroll through it, but I think the only person still on LSU staff going into year 4, Brian Kelly, that he hired, that he brought from Notre Dame, that he hired when he got here, the only one is Jake Flint, the strength and conditioning coordinator. I think it's the only one left that came with Kelly from Notre Dame. Unless there's somebody I'm missing, there might be somebody somewhere. But I think what this illustrates is sometimes, even when you're as smart as Brian Kelly is, and having been as many places as he's been, and successfully, built programs at all these different places. Listen, you're going to have natural attrition as time goes. It just happens. Coaches leave for other jobs. I mean, it happens. Like Matt Frakes. They certainly wanted to keep Matt Frakes, but he took a job with an NFL team. God bless. I mean, it's going closer to home. Good for him. But sometimes you also realize, like, bringing Kerry Cooks was a mistake. Bringing Brian Polian was a mistake. You brought Beth Rex, and I think Beth was very good at what she did, but Scott Woodward wanted Austin Thomas here, and Austin played it. Like, that portal class you just signed, Austin Thomas was critical to organizing that. I mean, Austin is great at what he does. We knew this from 2016 when he was here the first time. But I think what we're seeing illustrated here is an evolution, not just on the field, but in the entire football program that Brian Kelly is overseeing, and recognizing a lot of the things that made him comfortable when he got the job maybe weren't the best decisions. Maybe he needed to be decidedly uncomfortable coming here. Because as best I can tell, there's one person remaining that showed up here from Notre Dame when Brian Kelly got here before the 2022 season. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Because right now, you're looking at what has been a 3-year process of evolving. I've kind of said that it's almost like you're balancing the scales, right? You come in thinking one way, and you look at your success and your failure, and so you adjust, and then you're just trying to balance. You're trying to balance the scale with all the adjustments, right? How you hired your coach, what's it weighted toward people that know Kelly, that know Louisiana, recruiting Louisiana versus recruiting nationally. We've talked about like Brian Polian going to recruit Jeremiah Hughes. I don't mean to knock the kid, but when you're at LSU, you don't need to get on a plane and fly to Las Vegas to recruit a 3-star cornerback. It's a waste of resources to do that. How many players via NIL? How much money do you spend via NIL? And you're kind of finding that balance right now. And I think we're all expecting with that balance, it's going to deliver the best results since Brian Kelly's been here. At least we're all anticipating that in 2025. All right, it's After Further Review. Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Remember, when you go to Shaw Bills, ask about the Shaw Bills credit card. This is a credit card for your vehicle. You get VIP pricing, and you get 6 months no interest. So if you need to buy tires, and look, let's be honest, nobody likes to buy tires. But at Shaw Bills, they're going to get you the best tires for the cheapest price possible, and they're going to treat you like family. So if you got to do it, go to the place that's going to treat you like family and give you the best prices. That's Shaw Bills. So always ask about the Shaw Bills credit card because you got to buy tires and really stinks to come out of pocket with that money up front. You can use the Shaw Bills credit card with 0% interest-free for 6 months. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills. We keep you rolling. Okay, really good show, y'all. Thanks to Jerit Roser, who was here in Hour 1. He pinch hit for Shea Dixon. Jared Mitchell was talking a little baseball in Hour 2. You had Cauble giving us a report from the Senior Bowl earlier this hour. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Remember, just search AFR podcast or YouTube. Search AFR LSU for our LSU content, AFR Saints for our Saints content, or if you want the full show, just search After Further Review. You get the full show on YouTube or podcast, and please subscribe. We appreciate you for being there. Okay, final break of the show. We'll come back. Jimmy's back, provided that he's awake. Need to pass out. Otter Locks is next. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Of course, at Action Industries, servicing the petrochemical refinery markets. They've got fabrication shop services as well that I'd love to tell you about because they just do an amazing job there at Action Industries. As we know, also, as I continue to remind you, Action Industries also boasts the Advanced Turnaround Group. So the Advanced Turnaround Group is a core group of professionals that have built their careers on turnaround execution. So it's not like Action is taking any worker from any other part of the business and throwing them in the turnaround world. Like, this is a completely different pool of resources. So when turnaround season comes and you're looking for businesses to bid your turnaround job, remember the Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries. You can learn more at actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and...
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Big shout out to Sunshine, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Tractors, combines, all that farm equipment, plus zero-turn mowers, gators. Check it out, sunequip.com. Bunky and below, you want a deer? You want sunshine, sunequip.com. All right, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matthew. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing awesome.
All right, we got a lot to get to today. So the picks I gave out on the website earlier, Tennessee, minus 10.5. That line opened up 8.5. We get on the bad side of that line. But, I mean, two teams kind of going in opposite directions, battle of tempo. They're at home. Tennessee's beating every opponent by double digits. And Kentucky's struggling a little bit on the defensive end. So, spot here for Tennessee. Louisville the same. Louisville getting Wake Forest away from home. We had Wake Forest plus 11.5. That's the first game they lost this year at home. They're getting away from home tonight against probably the second best team in the ACC, taking Louisville minus the points there. And then Texas A&M blew the lead on Saturday, but they'll be back. This is a game also that they led by a ton and lost to Oklahoma, led by 18. Now it's a return trip for Oklahoma. Like the Aggies, they're playing really good basketball as well. That close to sweeping Ole Miss and Texas on the road. Both two of Joe Lenardi's 13 teams in the SEC in the tournament right now. We've got a 5-team money line parlay.
Okay.
So here we go. It includes those three teams, Tennessee, Louisville, Texas A&M. All are at home. All are significant favorites, laying the points individually. But it's one of the things when I'll take the dog, but if I don't take the dog, a lot of times I like to play these teams at home. That's what I like today. Georgia is at home against South Carolina. South Carolina a bit exhausted. They lost that big lead. The only time they trailed against Florida was the final score. Then they lost in overtime. They said the next game to Mississippi State. Now they go on the road. We're like the dogs, take care of business at home. And then Michigan State. Izzo's got a good team this year. They're playing really good. They shoot free throws really well. It's kind of a lost art in college basketball. So Michigan State, and way too many to lay with double digits, but we'll take them on a money line parlay with the other three teams that I gave you individually.
Okay. All right, so the three bets, Louisville, Tennessee, A&M, all against the spread, and then the 5-team money line parlay with Louisville, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Michigan State. Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
That's it. I apologize about sleeping through the segment yesterday. I mean, I had to do the show by myself, and doing a show without Hanny is exhausting. So I
would assume you would have said doing a show with Hanny was exhausting. That's normally.
I'm being nice. So, you know.
That's very rare. Very rare. All right, where are you tomorrow?
We're at Snow's Seafood and Steak. Guess who's coming on tomorrow? You know, Wes Reynolds and Beeson are no longer the only place you can get him is right on our show. He wasn't on the air last week, but you did post it.
Yep.
Another triple-digit winner in the golf. 100-1. This is 3 weeks in a row. 90-1, 110-1, 100-1.
1 minute remaining.
He will be on with us tomorrow at 12:15.
That's why it pays to make sure you get the plays at LouisianaSports.net. And, of course, listen to Otter at Live at Lunch. All right, Otter Snows tomorrow. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
All right, thanks, man. We'll see you. Get Charlie and Jimmy weekdays 11-1 Live at Lunch. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Otter is a Williamson Eye Center patient, as am I. I had LASIK. Otter had the custom lens replacement. He's the guy that was always reaching for the readers and couldn't see the menu in a dark restaurant. Sound familiar? That's you. You could ditch the contacts and glasses forever. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. Just schedule that free consultation. It's free. It's not a high-pressure thing. They're the best. The Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, y'all. Have a great night. Muse, Paulie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on AFR.
After further review.
Okay, we're getting on down the road. A great pleasure to remind you, as we always do, about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Brandon and Adrian Holly, awesome people, not only great business owners, great personal friends. And, you know, when you call Relief Windows, Brandon reminds me of this all the time. You're doing it once. This isn't an instance where you replace your windows and then with our awful weather in South Louisiana where it's hot and humid and wet, they're going to rot and you're going to replace the windows in another 5-7 years. Nope, not with Relief Windows. A true lifetime transferable warranty. You're doing this one time. How many companies can actually say that? How many companies will be around long enough to make good on a true lifetime transferable warranty? Yes, you're going to pay a little more. No doubt. They will never be the cheapest. But as your mama told you, you get what you pay for. It's Relief Windows. Windows, door, siding, they do shutters as well. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.